Good morning. Good morning. Good to be back, huh? Doing good. I'm doing great. First and foremost, got to congratulate Kene on the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Well deserved, and what a breath of fresh air. It was to see him take one to the house. I know we've all been waiting on it. So, especially at the timing of when it happened, huge momentum swing in the game after they just scored. We're able to go ahead and take it back, quick score, tie the game up right there. Had U.S. Bank jumping, really turned the crowd up. Huge momentum swing for us, and from there we were able to really take control of the football game. Especially look at it come off the Dallas game, 4-day break for our team to respond that way shows just a lot about our relentlessness. Our attention to detail, the execution, the preparation that went into that week, and to respond away to a AFC contender, a playoff team, really, really well coached football team for us to go out and have that type of performance is encouraging. It'll help us down the long run for sure. As you look at it, really another tough opponent for us coming in, the New York Jets. Very talented, really good special teams unit. Have a really good returner in Barrios. You look at it over the past 3 weeks, we faced some of the top premier returners. So it's good for us to kind of build up that callus and get ready to see, how we compete up against some of the best. Our guys are biting at the bit and loving each and every opportunity. And so we'll continue to grow off of it and continue to get ready to put our cleats in the ground and get ready to get to it.
Hey, you mentioned special teams player of the week. How cool is it you've had three different guys win it this year?
Yeah, that's awesome, Chris. And that's a huge credit to those guys and what they've been able to accomplish on a not only a weekly basis but a day in and day out basis. A lot of you all only get to see a small portion of practice, but what those guys do after practice, post practice meetings. It's a true credit to their work ethic, true credit to the accountability of how they hold one another to such a high level. Our practice players giving an unbelievable look day in and day out. So it's a huge credit to those guys and how they go about what their process is on a daily basis. And I'm excited and proud of those guys, and we'll continue to build off of it. I'm sure this won't be the last one that'll get credited.
Kevin said after the game that he has been telling Kene, or asking him basically, is today the day? What's your communication been like with him as far as that patience?
Yeah, for sure. So we made some personnel and some scheme changes, and quite honestly, ever since we did end up we ended up housing the one. I kind of been kicking myself, just because it's kind of like me and Kene was. It's like we were in like a dating phase and kind of just talking back and forth, and we really weren't on the same page and trying to figure it out. And I think finally, it connected and we meshed well. And I kind of blame that all on me, just based off the schematics, what we were doing, how the personnel was. And, honestly, it was a halftime adjustment that me and Coach Kowicka made. That was a return that we've actually never run all year that ended up paying dirt for us. So halftime was very, very productive for our guys to make that adjustment and be keen to, a new scheme and able to pull off those blocks like that is, again, I got really true, smart, instinctive football players, and so it paid off for us. But again, it really fell on me from the previous 11 weeks. Again, I'm kicking myself about how I was going about using this elite player that we had, because I know what he's capable of, and entire leagues know what he's capable of, and quite honestly, I was holding him back, and so I can assure you that won't happen moving forward. So
did you draw something up new at halftime, or just use something you had practiced?
No, so something we never practiced before, Kevin. It's a brand new return. Never worked it before, never ran it before, and so again, huge credit. Again, it's like showing a guy some permanent marker on a piece of paper like this. Like, hey guys, this is what we're doing right here. All right, let's get it done. And so the first time we ran it, we struck gold.
Was it something within your normal concepts though, or just entirely different for everybody?
It was pretty different for everybody. If we're just being honest, it was. But again, that's on me, and it's something that, I'm still kind of mad about it. Just looking back at it, the previous 11 weeks. So.
Is it something you like, and not just
necessarily that particular thing, but just the way you used him, was it something you thought like was too challenging for the group to handle?
Yeah, it was just. I think I just made it a little too hard on our guys, thinking too much. At the end of the day, I always talk about less thinking, more reacting, and I had guys out there thinking just way too much instead of just kind of keeping the approach very, very simple. And we know what our philosophy is. The simple approach with the aggressive mindset, and it wasn't simple. It wasn't simple at all. And I had guys out there, just not in the right position, thinking way too much, not the proper leverage. So, as a first-year coordinator, sometimes you have those hiccups. You live and learn, and you kind of get stuck in your ways and how you previously used to do things and, not willing to change. And so, that falls on me. But, fortunate enough, I got a great assistant in me and Coach Kawika, who's experienced in this league and has done it for a long time, So he was able to kind of help me out in that aspect of it, and it paid off.
Did you and Coach Kawika just get to the locker room and it was we got to just change this? How what was the conversation?
Yeah, for sure. So those first 3 or 4 kicks where they kind of got at the 21, 20, 15, 16 or something like that. Kind of took a deep dive into what we were currently running. Again, if you do look at the returns, the first couple of turns that we did have, again, every coach can say it was we were 1 block away from getting it, 1 block away from getting it. But, it was getting some penetration to the back end right there. And, again, that kind of falls on me and how we were kind of drawing it up. So, we just kind of took a look at what we had, what the bodies were, how they were lining up. We just kind of reviewed the surface, reviewed the surface, just kind of reviewed that, looked at what it looked like, and kind of moved forward off of that and made the adjustments.
You said you were in your talking phase, kind of like the early dating phase.
Yeah.
Is there anything that Kene may have said to you that now this is like a light bulb?
Yeah, and again, in that talking phase, sometimes you're willing to listen, and sometimes you hear, you're hearing, but you're not truly listening. And I think that was the kind of case for me, to where there was a lot of back and forth communication. I think there's a relationship now to where, I was offering my ideas of Kene, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I like that, I like that, I like that." Whereas, where we built this relationship where he can tell me "Nah, I'm not really feeling that hat. Let's that's not me. Let's do something different." And so I think we've gotten to that point now to where he can have a true, open, and honest conversation with me about what he truly likes and what he wants to run, and what we need to stick to.
Coach, when the last numbers were released for Pro Bowl voting, Andrew DePaula was leading long snappers. I mean, I know it's not a position that's talked a ton about, but just what does he do for your group, and how cool is it kind of just to look at his career arc, not even really knowing if you get to the NFL? And
yeah, it was, Pro has a very, very interesting story if you all ever interested in getting to know that guy. But how he's entered to this league, I mean, he's had 2 ACL injuries, been in and out of this league, but, the tangibles and the intangibles that he possesses and how he's able to, really look at a young group that we have in our specialists, and Greg Joseph and Mr. Wright, but how he's able to lead those guys in the classroom, but also guys like Metellus and Chris Boyd. I think that the biggest thing with him is that he's very relatable and personable, that he's able to connect with each and every individual, whether it's a Patrick Jones all the way down to a Greg Joseph. And the way that he communicates to those guys, they just get it and they truly listen, because he's done it. He's got the war wounds in it. He truly understands what it takes in this league from a special team standpoint to have a true advantageous, to have a true advantage when it comes to winning one-on-one matchups. And so, that's, again, huge credit to him. When I came in and got this job, I knew that he would be a guy that I wanted to lean on, and he's been nothing but a true asset for me. And it's truly no surprise that he is leading in Pro Bowl votes, because, if you watch the tape, the snaps are accurate. He's doing an unbelievable job in covering. I think he might have 3 or 4 tackles, which is high for a long snapper. He's always in the right spot, and I love that guy. He's doing an unbelievable job, and he'll be doing this as long as he wants to.
I know we've asked you about it before, but with Greg and extra points, is there something you see it seems like he kind of keeps pushing them right a little bit. Is there something you see with that?
Yeah, well, so Hey, we made the adjustment. We made the small adjustment last week. Was the first time where he's, historically he has been a middle of the field extra point kicker. So, you can look at it. I mean, he's had 10,000 reps, and so it's basically become muscle memory from him to hit it off the middle from the middle of the field. And so last week was our first time where we put it on the left hash right there. So it's just going to take some time to adjust to that. So we're working through a couple of kinks here and there to clean it up, to make sure he's all good within his process and how we need to go about that. But I still got the utmost truest faith in Greg. You look at it, he's had 3 game-winning kicks for us, and when we needed him the most, he stepped up and responded in the right way. Whether he's missed a kick extra point in the third quarter, he's responded to needing that fourth quarter extra point or fourth quarter game-winning field goal like Washington or like New Orleans, or Buffalo. So when we've needed Greg Joseph the most, he's responded in the right way, even if he did miss an extra point or kick prior to that. And so, that's what you look for in a kicker, is that mental fortitude and that mental toughness. And how does he respond if he does, miss a kick?
How do you determine whether to kick a touchback or kick it to the returner? Like, what's the risk reward?
So it kind of depends on what the matchups are. And again, that's just another thing that I kind of been beating myself up with. And I've been trying to get way too cute in how we go about our kickoff ball, where, the way I look at it is my guys are better than your guys. Just kick it, don't need all the extra this, that. I've been moving bodies around, guys playing positions where they're normally not playing to where they were initially at the beginning of the year when we were killing people. I've kind of started trying to change and do all this and that, and I'm just doing too much if we're just being honest. And so when you look at it, obviously you want to look at the returner that we're up against. Is he an elite guy? How is the flow of the game going? Do we need some type of momentous swing to where we get a hard inside the 20 type of tackle to get the defense going? Because we're always big on an overflow of energy, because, each and every drive starts with some type of special teams play. And so we're always big on our energy should be an overflow over to the sideline as our offense or defense takes the field. And so I got to be critical of those type of moments and, understanding to know when to kick out of the end zone or when to kind of give them that temptation of the ball to see if they're willing to bring it out or not. And, we really just got to get back to the basics at the end of the day.
A learning curve, like when to just wait and see, like, things will work out and when you have to make an adjustment.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some times where you can kind of hit, again, those temptation balls of where the kickoff return team might be able to kind of give away with a schematics are, and you can take a look at it on the surface, just kind of get a better idea. Like, okay, guys, they showed a 3-3 sideline right here. We can attack them this way and understand what the leverage and all that type of stuff looks like. And then we say, okay, let's put this ball in play and let's get ready to go. But, more times than not, I usually ask the players how they feeling, what do they want to do. You want to put this one in play, or do you want to kick it out? More times than not, they say yes. But if you're in a game like Miami where it's 120 degrees, coach, tighten it up, got a little cramp, or, see your hands like, my hip flexor, this and that, where it's like, Greg, go ahead and boot it on out. We'll live to see another day. So, yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Good. Appreciate it.